Well, I remember that particular day that they had the shooting. We were on the red light. I think we just got out of briefing or the day started, the evening started, 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. And I was on the red light talking to Brendan Ladd and them, my crew, talking to them. And we heard gunshots. Pow, pow, pow. Coming from over in the direction by the school. See, we think in the school because it's over by Compton Line. And we go, wow, somebody's shooting over at the school. As we were saying that, the dispatch, because we all had hand radio, was dispatching, hey, gunshot victims at the car wash, Rod's Car Wash, Alondra in Orlando. And I go, wow. So I jumped in my car. I had one of them cars with bells and whistles on it and all that everybody kind of knew. I remember me taking off first. I'm heading toward Alondra because the scene is Alondra in Orlando. So I'm going to fly down Willowbrook to go there. As I'm flying, I got my bells and whistles on because I know it's victims down. So I'm flying down and all of a sudden I see a guy out in the street. It turned out to be Michael flagging me down.
Michael Duro.
Duro. He knows my car. You know, everybody, the gang members, they know. I'm thinking he's flagging me down. So I see him flag me down and I get out and I'm smart enough to know shooting, Michael, where he is flagging me down, he involved in it. He got something to do with it. I don't know what. Maybe shooting. But anyway, I grab him, I get out the car, say, Mike. He said, Rez, they shot Lando. I grabbed him, I hooked him up right quick. Pat him, made sure he ain't well. And I stood him here. Man, they shot Lando. I'm with Lando. He was in the car, in the passenger side, kind of hanging out. I just looked at him quick. I just saw a lot of blood. I didn't even see the part of the body. I just knew he was bleeding. And to me, he looked like he was dead, to tell you the truth, because he couldn't respond. And I didn't say anything to him, because I just wanted to get paramedics there quick, get to the scene, right? So once I had somebody to take care of him and all that, I took off to the scene. By that time, other cops, because Brendan Ladd rode off the lot with me, so a lot of us are showing up right there at that scene. Because we haven't got there yet. Some cops went, but we there, dealing with Michael. I remember just giving Michael to somebody. I don't even know who it was, one of the cops. Said, take him to the station. I said, Mike, I'll be there to talk to you. I got to go see what's going on. And they took him away. That's the last I seen of him then. That's when I know Ray, that story about Ray getting on the rig. Or
Ray Richardson.
Yeah, Ray
Cameo.
Richardson, Big Ray, cameo. I can call him that because he had that hairstyle. But anyway, Ray, I could see him talking to Orlando on a gurney, saying something to Orlando, you know, because I realized he wasn't dead, because when I went and checked on him, and we called paramedics, he was alive, but they tried to do something at the scene, and then they put him on a gurney, and Ray talking to him, really questioning him about who killed Tupac, because Ray wasn't that interested in, I'm sure, wasn't that interested in who shot you there. We always looking at him, since he was dead, we could clear that one right quick. And I'm sure that was Ray's thinking. I never talked to Ray directly about it. But he asked him, did you kill Tupac? And he said, fuck you, cameo. Which would have been beautiful if he could have got that out, because it would have probably held up, you know, to do that.
What do you think about one of the last things Orlando Anderson ever heard was, did you kill Tupac? And basically being asked about that.
Well, that happened with somebody else too I was involved with that said, go fuck yourself.
Well, Tupac said the same thing.
Oh, Tupac said it to that cop that was on the bicycle. Told him. I said, but you know what it reminded me of? See, I'm an old sort. Your dad probably could tell you. Old James Cagney movie.
Okay.
James Cagney was an old gangster back in the day. At first, he was all humble and talking and all that, you know, and probably told the cops in the back room what his crime was. But when they was taking him to the gas chamber, instead of being remorseful, and was like going to the gas chamber, fuck y'all, fuck all y'all, and, you know.
You're waiting me, screw. What's your face?
It'll be the last face you see, big shot, and it'll be the laughing at you.
Don't get near me now, I'll spit in your eye again.
Edward, stand back.
The whole point was they had to go down hard. You wasn't gonna die snitching or talking or like a punk.
Right.
You know, you go down hard. And I guess that's their way of going down hard. Tupac and two notorious ass wannabe. Tupac was a wannabe gangster. Orlando Anderson was a gangster that killed him, I believe. I takes off and I go to the scene. And then the scene is hectic. By the time I get cops there, because it's, 3 or 4 gunshot victims. I go over there and just kind of supervise that, because I had homicide and detectives in gang unit. So I had to supervise them, get coordinated, because it was a massive scene.
Right. Lots of people around.
And people talking, because they seen it. Yeah. It was telling about the shooting, so coordinating that. And I stayed there, and then eventually it got so overwhelming for us, we called the sheriffs in to help us to process it, because they had more resources. And I remember that.
Do you remember what the witnesses were saying?
That they were shooting somebody in a car, some guys was in a car, that started shooting at these guys because they were just hanging around the front getting their car washed.
The Stones were, yeah.
Yeah,
Michael
the Stones
and Jerry,
somebody else. It was 2 Stones.
Yeah,
and
Daniel Smith is supposedly the third guy.
Some other guy. So I know it was they were there just talking, which was common at that car wash. Rob Car Wash used to have all them cats from hoods because they had them slicked out cars, and he did a great job, on hand washing and all that. So there was always some one set come over or something like that, arguments or nothing else. Sure. But Rob wasn't he was known from the hood. Rob was connected some kind with a car wash owner. That's how he bought that car wash. That they respected him in his business. Right. So they didn't feud that much at Rob Car Wash. You didn't go up there to fight. Yeah. Because Rob, you end up having to fight Rob and his people. So anyway, but I guess homeboy, it all started with Orlando getting to a hamburger at Mom's, was directly across the street, the famous hamburger stand that he was, but he was by himself. He saw them cats over there, knowing that one of them, Stone or somebody, owed some money for some dope they bought. So he was going to collect or play the enforcer, but he apparently decided not to do it by himself, because Michael's mama told me this directly. Michael had just got out the hospital, Duro, and he had a bag, a closet or something, and he was over his grandmother's house, over there on South Side, over his grandma, and Lord, Orlando, went over and got him and said, man, you gotta go with me.
Why was Duro in the hospital from?
I don't know what the heck. I don't know if he probably got shot. I don't even know what he was. He could have had an appendectomy or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure.
But he had some kind of injury. I don't know what the heck. Till the day I hadn't asked. But he went. Mike gonna ride. That's his dog. I mean, they used to be in a stroller together like twins. Seriously, they were brought up like that. Them two. That's how close they were.
Orlando
Their
and Duro
mothers were friends, and they were like brothers, really. So now he said, "Hey, man, what he gonna do?" So Michael swear later that he didn't know what Orlando gonna do, but that's the tale. But they ended up going there, and apparently got involved. Parked to the side. Now I'm hearing for later that they argued first and all that. The way I got it that day, or was hearing it from people who were saying that they just got out, Orlando got out, walked up to him and started shooting, but them cats were ready too, and a shooting ensued. Now I'm hearing later on something about Michael Duro grabbed the gun and was shooting. I never heard none of that, and Michael never said anything about it. He did that. They shot him, he fell in the car, and Michael took off in the car.
The story now is that Orlando Anderson got hit, dropped his gun, Michael picked it up and started shooting. You never heard that back then.
I don't know where that came from.
Your understanding was they both had guns and they both were shooting at the same time?
Orlando and other guys.
And Duro, but what was Duro doing initially?
I never heard nothing until court time came up, or later on people started talking about Michael, because I couldn't understand. I thought Michael had just went down for the felony murder rule.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was Michael's case. I didn't go to Michael in them case, the case or something when that happened. But I was told later, I think his mom told me that they said really he got time because he did some shooting. I never knew that. Now, when Mike told me what went down, about they were there and how he came and got him with the story I just told. Michael told me that himself and said that that's what happened. But naturally, he ain't gonna sit up there confess right straight out that he did shooting.
Yeah, he's not gonna say.
Yeah.
Also, I picked up a gun and started shooting.
So I can't say he didn't, but I just think I didn't know anything. But I never put that out because I never saw nothing at the scene or heard that Michael did any shooting till court time.
Wow.
And I didn't know.
And he got 3 life sentences.
Yeah. But I don't know if that's true till today or not, if he did do any shooting. But it came out in court. I guess you said some guy named Smith said that Duro did the shooting, and he survived it, right?
Daniel Smith survived it,
Yeah.
I don't know that Daniel Smith, I don't know anything about him testifying.
Somebody there,
yeah, somebody
one
did.
of the guys survived
Keefe
it.
wrote in his book that he heard from Duro.
Who are you talking about now, Keefe D?
Keefe D wrote in his book, I think, that he heard afterwards Duro told him something like everybody at the car wash was shooting at them. So I don't know if they were back at them.
That's possible. I'm telling you, that ain't impossible. And like I told you, Rob wasn't no joke himself. So I don't know.
Who knows who joined in,
Who
right?
joined, or you know. But I heard, we heard a lot of shots. I didn't process the scene, so I don't have no idea because Sheriff kind of helped us process the scene. And so I don't know what happened. I know it was a lot of shooting.
Wow.
And he was dead.